Hello everybody and welcome back to another Java tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about arrays. Now you might be saying to yourself, hey, why isn't this kid made a tutorial about the static keyword? That's actually because static has, in order to know what it is and how to use it, you have to know a lot about methods, and which is still a beginner's stuff, but still I haven't made a tutorial on that. And additionally, to truly understand it, you have to really know a lot about object-oriented programming and really just objects in general and how to create your own object. So I'm going to do that in a future episode. And also, heads up, I am going to try to make these videos shorter. I feel like I do rant a lot or like over-explain some stuff, so I'm going to try to cut this short. So let's get into it. First, I'm just going to delete all of the code from last episode. I'm just going to open up paint.net just to show you what arrays are, just so that you can kind of visualize it. So let's just zoom in a little. So you can picture an array as a locker room, and each index is a locker, and that locker is within that, and that index, which is a locker, is within that locker room. And each index is a locker, and that every locker is referred to by its locker number or its index number. Now, index numbers or locker numbers always start at 0 and go up from there. 0, 1, 2. There's never a negative index. Um, but essentially, um, uh, yeah, it just goes 0, 1, 2. So locker holds something. The locker is the thing that actually holds the value, for example, a number, or maybe it's a string in there. And then there's multiple lockers with multiple different strings, values, and anything in there. And then the locker room is the actual array, and each locker again is referred to by their number, starting at 0 and then incrementing in consecutive numbers. So let's create an array. So let's create an array of strings. You can do this with any type string. So we create it just like we create any normal variable, but this time we're going to put in these two square brackets. So that just signifies that it's an array. So it's an array of strings, right? And we're going to call this string array. Now you can see that it actually autocorrects to strings. Well, that is because an array holds multiple strings, so that's why it's saying, oh, well, if you're going to say strings, then string, then let's just add that s there just to make sure you know that it's multiple strings we're referring to, or in other words, an array. So string, but I'm going to say string array, you know what, let's just call it strings, and then we'll set that equal to a new string array. Now this looks a little bit different than our previous variables that we've created. For example, if we just want a normal string, we can just do this string equals to hello. But this is a string array, which is an object, so we're just going to treat it differently, or we're going to treat it as an object. Whoops. Yeah, you can see it's an object. But anyways, strings equals new string array. So let's just run through this string. We're saying, all right, we're creating a variable called string, and it's going to be an array of strings. That's why we have the square brackets, and we're naming this array of strings to strings, and we're setting this equal to a new array of strings. And this number 256 is simply saying how many slots there are. So going back to that locker room thing, the array, the strings array, the actual name strings is referring to the locker room, and then the number is how many lockers are inside of that locker room, starting from 0. So then to add an index to the array, so that would be adding a value to one of the lockers, which is in the locker room. We just do strings, and then we do the square brackets, and then let's just put in 0 equals to hello, or index. Here we can say first index. Now, what is happening? Well, we're referring to the string array, right? We're saying strings, and then, but we want to access the first index in the array, which is 0. So this 0 within these square brackets is just, that's the index number, and we're setting that specific index in the string array equal to first index. And now if we system.out.print strings 0, you'll see it says first index. there, first index. Yay. Now if we do strings 1 equals to second index. Now I know the starting from 0 might be a little confusing at first, but you'll get used to it. We print out the index 1, it'll say second index. And of course these indexes don't override each other, they don't even interact. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much the bare bones of arrays. You can do them with integers, so let's just show you what that looks like. And we can do them with booleans, which I'll show you what that looks like as well. So integers, so first the type, which is an integer, and then we're saying it's an array, and we can say numbers, because it's an array of numbers, equals to a new integer array. And let's just say it has 256 lockers or indexes. And then we want to set first index to, let's say, 69, I don't know, numbers index, the first index, or index 0 is equal to 69, and then numbers index 1 is equal to, I don't know, 5. Now if we print out numbers 0, so that would be the first index in the array. It'll print out 69, as you can see right here, 69. If we put in 1, then it'll print out 5. And of course we can make this index like 3, so go from 0 to 3 and run this. And it'll still say 5. Now, just to make sure you know this, because just in case, when you get an index, it's just returning that index as its type. So what that means is when this is basically a variable, it's basically another way of saying that index's number. So it's just returning an integer. So this is just an integer. It's not like an integer specifically typed to array. No, it's just an integer. So therefore, what I mean to say by this is you can actually add these as if these were regular variables or regular numbers. So if we do numbers and we do index 0, it'll still work. 69 plus 5 is 74. So if we run this, it'll say 74 because we're adding index 3 of the array of numbers to index 0 of the same array of numbers, and you can do this with different arrays. And index 0 is 69, index 3 is 5, so it'll just add 69 plus 5, and there we go, we have 74. So that's it for arrays. I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I was able to make it shorter this time. See you guys in the next video. Goodbye.